Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Behind the Boss. I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com. I'm joined by Lord Ash.
Hello everyone.
Hello. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the bosses in Castlevania. Now, first things first, I have to just say, they have put so much effort into all the bosses in this game.
Yes, Castlevania Symphony of the Night was the first Castlevania I ever played.
Yeah.
Didn't have it on NES, didn't have it on SNES, anything like that. So this was actually my first interaction with a Castlevania game. And yeah, the amount of detail that goes into even just the normal enemies is amazing.
I mean, you've got some bosses here, for example. They're not ones where you're going to put much of a spotlight on, but just the amount of animation and the amount of effort that's gone into the sprites and the gameplay as well. So here, you'll recognise these guys if you've seen the Netflix show. You'll actually see like Trevor and Silpha there as well, who you'll recognise from that. But it's really, really good. There's really good tactics going on. There's some really interesting interactions. The animations are fantastic. And the music as well is really, really good.
Yeah, this game has some of the best music in most of the Castlevania games, in my opinion, of course.
Yeah,
my opinion.
I think just in general, in regard to gaming, it's got some of the best music. I mean, it's just the amount of effort. You can tell it was a labour of love. It's like here with Olrox, the amount of effort that's gone into the transformation, and also as well, the amount of effort that's gone into the death scenes. So like the fact that you could just have an enemy disappear. We were talking about this before.
Yeah.
But instead, you've got this really amazing animation and this dissipation of the
goes,
corpse.
And then his skeleton.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Absorbed.
The one problem I've got with this issue, though, is the re-recording of dialogue. So the problem with this is that the remake of the game that's out now on modern generation, like PS4, that is. Sorry, I nearly said consoles, PS4. Is that they've redone some of the voice acting. It's from a different game. It's not from Symphony of the Night.
No, and for me, the new voice acting, just doesn't have the same punch as the original.
Yeah, the original was cheesy and quite camp, but they embraced that. And I always say, if you embrace that, you'll be successful. They do this so po-faced.
For me, there was a lot more emotion, and they also cut out one of the most famous lines.
Yeah.
And redid it with this one.
This pit of hatred and lies. Fight for them and die for their sins.
What we'll do is, I'll let you be the judge of that, but what we'll do is we'll show a clip in a second so you actually see exactly what we're talking about. Because I think the original voice acting, it was cheesy, but it was better. Have a look.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world.
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you.
Have at you indeed. Now, you can say yes, the actual dialogue, the written word, it's a bit cheesy. They knew some of the stuff they were saying were cheesy, but they had put so much sort of emotion into it.
This is Dracula. You're allowed to be a bit camp.
Yes.
Like, I think it's great that they really threw their all into it. And if you embrace that kind of thing, you will be successful with it. I think it was great. I think the voice acting is something I love the most about this game.
Exactly. Yeah. This boss fight is actually the first boss fight in the game. You literally boot up the game, and it just gives a little brief of what happened in the previous game, which I believe was Rondo of Blood. Yeah,
Rondo of Blood. You played that as like a 2D platformer. You played as Richter, and there was no exploration, whereas this game is the birth of the whole Metroidvania, Castlevania Metroid kind of thing, where you could explore, go back to an area and get
Symphony
new items.
of the Night, I think, was the first sort of non-linear one.
Yeah, it was,
it was also the first one that introduced like RPG elements.
Yeah.
You actually had stats in the game, you had defense, attack, weapons that you could equip.
Yeah.
Things like that.
But, I mean, you were telling me an interesting fact about this fight in regard to stats later on in the game.
Yes, if you beat this fight without, I think it's within the first minute of the fight, you actually affect the stats that Alucard starts with when you start playing. And Alucard is the main protagonist in Symphony of the Night. He's Dracula's son. Yep. If you couldn't have guessed.
Alucard is Dracula backwards, if you're not sure, by the way.
But there are like the different ways you do this fight, depending on how much health you have, depending on how quickly you beat Dracula, actually affects what you start with when you finally get into the game.
Yeah, they did a lot of really innovative things with Symphony of the Night, and I think that's part of the reason why it's so well remembered. I think the music, the voice acting, the gameplay, and the effort. I think that's the thing. I was recently playing Bloodstained, which is sort of the spiritual successor to the original Castlevanias, because Konami's not really doing much with their IPs right now.
Unfortunately not.
No, I mean, the most recent thing we've seen, we won't go too much into detail, but there's the whole thing at the moment about Silent Hill becoming a fruit machine.
Yeah, that's
Or a
the new
slot
Silent
machine.
Hill game all the fans have been waiting for.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem really, is these people love these IPs that Konami have because of the fact that they're labours of love. You can tell so much effort has gone into these. Someone has felt so passionate about displaying what they're showing here.
And they've got such a rich history. You could have someone who has played the very first Castlevania all the way up to the last one,
Yeah.
and they can feel connected. They can feel that they've got a very distinct sort of progress and attachment to certain characters, but they haven't really done anything. One of the cool things I think they do a lot in Castlevania Symphony of the Night is sort of like two-stage battle fights.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really give you much time to breathe.
No,
You've
it's
literally beaten the first phase, straight into the second phase.
Oh yeah, this game was pretty grueling in regard to that. We were saying before, right here, for example, I've been taken down because I'm not going to lie, I played awfully, but I was getting beaten by Dracula here. So Maria comes and saves me because you can't die at the start of the game.
Nah.
But it's which would be awful. Oh no.
You boot it up, you die to the
I
first
record
boss,
that.
and yeah.
But yeah, the thing is that they put so much effort into all of the fights, and there's really mechanics you have to learn. But again, the thing I would say is that the voice acting. Here's what they've got now. Now let's compare that to the original. Yeah, I think I know what I prefer.
That's a death wail.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that they really embraced it. But before we go into the actual two bosses we were going to talk about primarily today, I just wanted to leave this clip in here to just show the amount of effort that's gone into just every enemy in the game, really, every animation, and the characters themselves, as well as the music.
Yeah. So here we have Alucard, the main protagonist of the game. But as you were saying, the effort that's gone in some games, or a lot of games, when you defeat enemies, they just disappear.
Yeah.
In this game, you can see the actual enemy deconstruct. It's on the screen for a good 2 to 5 seconds after you've killed it.
Yeah, it's like with the books, with the pages getting ripped up and burnt out. It's like with the ectoplasms you'll see in a second. When I hit them, they kind of diffuse down the screen. When you kill the Durans, they drop the head and it bounces. And one of the things I thought was great about this game was that there was so much to do. I mean, I open the map here. There's so much to explore, and that gets filled in as you go.
But now we get into the meat of the video, the boss fights. This, I believe, is one of the early boss fights. I think it's the second boss fight in the game.
Yes, it's the second boss fight in the game, and the first one you do is Alucard.
Yes, and this is your sort of one of your most favourite ones.
Yeah, this is Slogger and Gaiban. So I love these guys. I think the design of them both on their own is great, but I think the way they go together is brilliant. They do a really good job as well, is that they teach new players how to play. They teach the mechanics, because these guys can kill you quite easily if you haven't played before. If you're new, I mean, here, to be honest, I get quite a lot of hits in quite easily, but when I first played this game, they killed me quite a bit when I first started.
Exactly.
Because it teaches you how to utilise different items, how to move, and you're quite low level here, so you're still quite green. They've got different phases, like we were mentioning before.
He's just gone into he's changed his colour, and now his flame balls are a lot bigger, a lot faster in their execution.
Yeah, and it teaches you how to get out of the way. I mean, like there, for example, should have got out of the way,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Another great thing I like is actually the background to a lot of the boss fight rooms.
Yeah.
So much detail's gone in, because the actual design of the boss fight room looks amazing.
Yeah, and the thing about these bosses as well is you can tell that the fans love them, and so do the creators. Because if you've seen the recent Netflix show, I don't think you have you?
I haven't, unfortunately.
No, they're actually featured in there fighting against Alucard as well. And one of the things I noticed actually whilst recording this is that if you have a quick listen to the background music, I think you'll recognise it from somewhere. It is the original music from the boss fights.
That's cool. That's cool.
I
Another
loved
thing
it.
they do in Symphony of the Night, as you're going through, you're leveling up, which was the first. You're getting new items, new gear, better gear, and enemies that were once bosses sort of reappear as regular enemies, and now you're taking them out in 2 hits, so you feel that progression of getting stronger in the game. You're not just, I've made that through the skin of my teeth. You're feeling that amazing sort of power up.
Well, whereas in that sort of extreme, those guys are great, this is the other extreme. I hate this boss.
Yes.
I absolutely hate this. Now, the major reason I hate this is because the mechanics, the way you kind of win this is you kind of have to cheese it. The only ways I've seen to win this in a reasonable way is just to cheese the fight.
Yeah, you have to sort of be in close range because Alucard actually uses his sword for the main thing, and I believe this boss was called Galamoth?
Yes, that's right, Galamoth, yeah. The problem with Galamoth is that the way that I beat him when I first played this game, I was a kid when I played this, I was quite young when I played this, and you can have items that basically make you strong against his attacks.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way, because you'll see here, I'm wailing on him. But the problem is that he will basically trap you in one area and just lightning you to death.
Or as soon as, I think you said, as soon as he's out of your screen sight, you can't do anything. You can't hit your ranged attacks, so you have to go in to attack him. But when you go in, he stun locks you with his lightning attacks. As you can see here, you're just trying anything.
Yeah, I'm just throwing skeletons at him now. I'm bored of this now. I think the problem is with Galamoth as well is he's got quite a lot of health. And the problem is that he also does contact damage, and he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
So his attacks will knock you into him, and then the contact damage will start, and then he'll continue to knock you back.
And then he'll shock you with the lightning, which again...
Yeah, and the thing is regardless of what you do, there's about 3 ways I know of that people tend to go with. I mean, like here, I'm trapped in a corner, I get lightning to death, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
And we were saying before as well, one of the reasons why death in this is so annoying is how drawn out this is. Oh.
Gives you that little laugh.
The first time I heard that, I thought it was cool. The 19th time I heard that, I was just like, shut up. Yeah.
One of the sort of negatives I'd say with relating to dying is the long load time to actually get back into the game.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. It takes a long time to get back in. You'll notice now as well that something's changed about that fight. You might have noticed I had the menu screen up. Reason being is I've now got an item that means that the lightning will heal me rather than damage me. So then it just turns into wailing on him. And it looks cheap, it is. It is.
Yeah,
I've got no interest in...
You can't get hurt by his main attacks now.
Yeah.
But his health is so high that all you're doing is hit. There's no attack, you're literally just standing there tanking everything.
Yeah.
And the sort of the fun of the fight has gone.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is if you want to see, Alucard is kind of immune to hits after the first hit for a couple of seconds. But if you have a look when that lightning actually does strike at how many times I'm being healed, that's how quickly that lightning will hit you. So if it does hit you once and you fly backwards, because you do, then you'll get hit by that again and again. And if you get hit and you go forwards, you'll go into his leg, which flies you forwards. And, but this is the only way I've found. There's another way where you can use the shield rod and the Alucard shield, which is another cheap win. You can get up behind him and basically just hit him in the head. He gets stuck in a permanent stun loop. But other than that, it's just cheap.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
For me, I actually prefer some of these sort of smaller size human enemies.
Yeah.
Because although the design of this boss is great, he looks really, really cool, the implementation and the mechanics aren't great.
Yeah.
But for me, a lot of these smaller human size enemies actually bring in a lot more tactics, because you're hopping over each other, you're avoiding each other's attacks, you're waiting for that little window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Whereas some of them, this boss included, is that you're just standing there, hit. As you can see, you've been wailing on him for a good sort of minute and a half, 2 minutes now, and he's still...
Yeah, I had to do it, so you have to watch it. Was what I thought at this point. The problem is that there's so many amazing bosses in this, and his design is great. He's actually a boss that comes back from an earlier Castlevania game, actually.
I believe there you've just tried to mix it up by using fireballs. It did 1 damage. So you're like, right, okay, back to the sword.
I don't know why I picked the sword I picked, because I've got stronger swords, but I just did. I mean, the actual death animation as well. Normally I feel really vindicated. Just wasn't bothered.
Here you're just... It's that feeling of... Thank God that's over, rather than I've triumphed.
Yeah, speaking of things that are over, I think it's time for us to say goodbye.
It is.
What are we going to be playing next week?
Wait, can you hear that in the distance? I think there's some bells of awakening ringing.
Ah, Chosen Undead. So next week we are going to be playing a little bit of Dark Souls 1, and we'll be going through a few bosses there. If you do like our episodes, please don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe, and head over to nextstepnick.com for all of the latest articles, reviews and videos. But thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Lord Ash saying goodbye, everyone.
And it's goodbye from me. Thank you.